This is the Finance Subcommittee of the Holyoke City Council. We are going to be live on the public access channel this evening, Zoomed, recorded on Zoom, and streamed. We're going to be hybrid this evening. Members of the committee present are myself, Councilor Jordan to my left, Councilor Powell to his left, Councilor Tallman to my right, and our fifth member is with us on Zoom, Councilor Juan Anderson Burgos. Therefore, we will be doing a motion to...
I'll make a motion to take a roll call vote that for the purpose of this meeting would be applicable to all motions to remove an item from the table, place items on the table, package items, or suspend the rules unless there is an objection.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded for the purpose of hybrid. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So moved. With that in mind, item number one.
Motion to take item number one off the table?
Motion made and seconded. We take item one off the table for discussion. Item one is that the City of Holyoke appropriate the amount of $12,708,775 for the purpose of paying for the cost of the construction at the H.B. Lawrence School for potential window door replacement project, and the Lieutenant Elmer McMahon School for a window and door replacement project, the Maurice A. Donahue Elementary School partial window door replacement project, and the William Dean Vocational Technical High School for a boiler replacement. The invitation for the partial window replacement project at Maurice A. Donahue Elementary School is limited to the window section from the original building, which would be the 1973 portion itself. This would include the payment of all costs incidental or related to the and thereto for which the city may be eligible for the grant from the Massachusetts School Building Authority. Said amount is expended under the direction of the school committee. To meet this appropriation, the treasurer, with the approval of the mayor, is authorized to borrow said amount under Mass General Laws 4470B or pursuant to any other enabling authority. The city acknowledges that the MSBA's grant program is a non-entitlement discretionary program based on the need determined by the MSBA, and any project cost the city incurs in excess of any grant approved by and received by the MSBA shall be the sole responsibility of the city. Provided further that any grants the city may receive, the MSBA and projects shall not exceed the lesser of 80% of eligible approved project cost, as determined by the MSBA, or two, the total maximum grant amount determined by the MSBA, provided that any appropriation hereunder shall be subject to and contingent upon the city being awarded a grant from the MSBA for the project, and the amount of borrowing authorized to this vote shall be reduced by any grant set forth by the project funding agreement that may be executed between the city and the MSBA. And the amount of any ESSER reimbursement payments received by the city. Further order that the mayor is authorized to contract for any expended state aid available for the project, and the mayor is authorized to take any other action necessary or convenient to carry out the project. Further order, the treasurer is authorized to file an application to qualify under Chapter 44A Mass General Laws, and all of the bonds or notes authorized to be issued pursuant to this order, and to provide such information, execute such documents as required for such purposes. Further order that there be and shall be no change in the purpose of this bond, authorized without prior vote of the Holyoke City Council. Anybody want me to read that again? Welcome, everybody. It's off the table for discussion. We certainly welcome anytime we can get the help of the MSBA and to do the right thing for our school facilities. With us tonight is Anthony Soto, Superintendent / Receiver, we'll say Superintendent, but that's okay, of the Holyoke Public School System. Our mayor is with us, Joshua Garcia, and our new finance director of the public schools, Sean, I lost your last name already.
Mangano.
No wonder I lost it.
I'll say it one more. Mangano. Yeah, it's a hard one.
We got it. Rory Casey, which does not have a hard name. Our treasurer is sitting in the back also. Anthony, did you want to start by walking us through this?
Yeah, it's the ARP projects have always been successful in Holyoke, and I know the council has always been supportive of these projects. The This is the funding agreement portion of it, which will allow us to begin the work. I wish we had come back sooner because, the way windows are right now, everything's on back order, and we're hoping to get this project done this summer so that we could start the next school year with McMahon and Lawrence having brand-new windows and part of Donahue School, and also making sure that we get the boiler replaced at Dean. The city share is looking to be about 3.2 million, I believe. And, through discussion when we were here the last time, you guys had asked me, I think Councilor Jordan specifically asked us if we could look into if ESSER can cover any of this. So I had gone back to the state and asked them if ESSER could cover window projects, and had agreed to. At the time, we thought this project was going to be about $20 million. So the mayor and I had agreed to split that down the middle. I would cover $2 million with ESSER. So I've gotten that approval from the state to cover half the cost of the city share, and up to $2 million, which is good. New windows, I can't say enough about what they do to a school. It makes it feel like a new school. I don't know if you've gone to McMahon lately, but the windows that they have over there are just really, aging, and, you can't see through them. It doesn't really let natural light in. And with this, we're going to be able to replace all those windows, and it's just overall a good project. And like I said, we've committed to funding half of it on ESSER, the city share. But we, as with the MSBA, all MSBA projects, we need funding authorization for the full amount to move forward.
And Anthony, just to start off, the boiler at Lawrence School, right?
Dean. Windows and doors.
Oh, the boiler's at Dean School, I'm sorry.
Windows and doors at Lawrence, McMahon,
Okay.
and part of Donahue, because Donahue had a new wing that had built many years ago. So like those windows were, when they came out and inspected the building, they're not going to be replacing any of the windows in that new wing.
So is this a replacement boiler for,
Yeah,
and the boiler there, I take it is the one that was there?
original. Yeah.
Original boiler. Hate to say it, but Counselor Tallman was around for that.
I think it was.
Yeah. I graduated from Dean, so, but it was probably 11 years old.
Still a great building, still a great
Yeah.
facility, and that's, I commend the staff, that take care, and the principals and yourself that take care of the buildings, because they're in tremendous shape, and to me, it makes a lot of sense to replace windows and to do whatever we can, and to keep up with the maintenance of what time does to any building. Anything further?
Yeah, I wanted to share some news, but I'm hearing you guys got word already, but like.
Not sure if everybody heard it, so
We
you
had,
can do it publicly
Make it official.
before.
Yeah.
We had, or the MSBA had a board meeting today, and they voted for 9 communities, and Holyoke's one of them, to increase the construction and site cap. When we initially did that, the project, the construction was capped at about $393 per square foot, and that's going up to well above 500. I think 565 is the number. Don't quote me on that actual number. We're getting ready to release, do a press release and really message this to the school committee, city council, and the larger community. But ultimately, we were thinking that, as it stands, the numbers change, but like, we already have our cost estimates that were done and confirmed, and the city's share of the project was going to be about 38.7 million, and that's going down to about 27 million, which is a savings to the city of about 11.7 million. So that's like amazing news. We've been advocating for it. You've been advocating for it. It gets us, not quite to the 80%, but it gets us closer, and it certainly, saves a significant amount of money that we would have to bond for the PEC project. So really excited that we've been advocating for this and pushing for this, that the state, I always knew they had their their heart in the right place, and they wanted it to happen, and it got through, and they were able to make that vote happen, which is going to be huge for us and for this PEC project. So I'm glad we made the decisions that we made early on, and we were able to move forward, and we were cautiously optimistic about like something coming through, and voila, here something came through, and this is just really good. I know we had an alternate project as part of that package to do the dingo over, so I think that was going to be like $2 million or something like that. That if the city wishes to continue with that, which I know most of you wanted to see the work in the dingo happen, so we could have a much safer walk route with proper lighting and proper, all that stuff. So I think we'll be able to do it now, even with the funding. There's going to be some savings even above doing that alternate site work.
It is good news. It's fantastic news.
Yeah.
Most important that and I'm sure it's not just the MSBA, but that they're listening,
Yeah.
in the eastern part of the state to what a gateway community like Holyoke is, with the challenges we have in terms of our school population, but our entire population, being very high in the low income range itself. Just to point out, so we don't confuse it, the PEC is a new construction project under the MSBA. This is a accelerated repair project under the MSBA, which qualifies for the 80% if we, get the approval from the MSBA. Certainly the 80% for the new construction would have been welcome, but I think it's now 78, no. What,
Closer to
32%,
70.
so
I
it
don't-
would be 68%?
We still got a bid, so like once
Right.
we do the construction
No.
bid, and we'll be able to solidify those numbers once we do actually bid.
Yeah, but there's a good difference. And this
Great.
accelerated repair projects are one of the items that the MSBA offers that really help out all communities.
Yeah.
And I think we're lucky to be part of it and to be considered for it. Is there any discussion? Councilor Jordan?
Okay. Welcome, Anthony, and welcome, Sean, to our council. A couple of things. One, wonderful news on the 12 million savings. That's just fantastic, and just once again supports the very good decision that we made earlier, that to go forward with that. So just very exciting for the school department, and exciting for our bottom line as well. And I hope we do go forward with that Dingle project.
Yeah.
I'm very much in support of that. I think that would be an excellent use of the funds. It would really help with the flow of the buses between the high school and there, and would be really supportive of the neighborhood. So I hope you do use some of those funds to support that. And I certainly have my vote on that. Couple of things I wanted to just go over with this. This says that we're to bond for $12.7 million to do this work. I was reading the August 30th letter from the MSBA, and unless I'm reading it wrong, it looked like it was totaling around maybe $9.5 or $10 million, according to the table at the bottom of the letter here. Can you just walk through the difference between the 9.5, 10, and the 12.7 in the bond?
Yeah, so in that letter, what they're listing is what they will give a grant for. So that's what we expect their grant portion to be.
I see.
And
So
the total
that's the
project.
80%.
Yeah.
Okay. So when they're representing this in this chart, this is the 80% portion.
Yeah, that's their maximum grant that they'll award for each project.
I see. Okay, that makes sense. All right. So then my next question is, if I was listening carefully, you felt that our percentage was going to be $3.2 million? Was that the number?
If we take that 12.7 million and back out the maximum grant, that would be the city's share.
Okay.
Yeah.
So 12.7. So I was thinking, does that come out to be 20%? Because that 3.2 on 12.7,
Pretty close. 25.
25%.
Yeah, it looks like it's about 25%.
Okay. All right. So, okay. I just want to be clear that we're getting 75%, not 80%.
Well, the total budget number includes about a 5% contingency in it, and when you see some of the grant numbers, they don't always include the contingency because they want to wait to see what you're applying for it. Sometimes it gets a little wonky what numbers to compare to get to the reimbursement rate, but the good news is that the project number does include a contingency as well. So to Anthony's point, when we actually bid it out, there's potential for it to come in a little bit lower if we don't need to use that contingency.
Okay. All right. Very good. And then in terms of the ESSER money, yes, thank you. And I again really appreciate certainly the advocacy of this committee and the council overall and yourself to make that pitch to use up to $2 million. So potentially, just so I understand what the city's signing up for, if we use up to $2 million of ESSER funds, we would be looking at approximately $1.2 million to, and this is going to be amortized over 20 years?
Depending on how you bond for it, yeah.
Okay. Is the city looking to just expense this, or are we going to actually follow through with bonds? I mean, $1 million, if our share, I mean, we probably maybe have to bond because they're going to give us the payments, but if we paid it, say they did the work, because it's going to take how long to do the work itself?
The last time we did a project this size, we were all the way up. Punch list items were done, starting into we were able to start school in September, and everything had to be closed out by October 15th. So I'm going based on the last window project that we did with Sullivan, Morgan, and Kelly. That was the timeline. The biggest thing that I'm most concerned with right now is the way the economy is, and windows
getting
down.
materials.
Getting
and all
materials
that.
is
it's a challenge.
If we could get them so that once school finishes, we'll be able to complete the project this summer.
So you think you could potentially complete all of this work in calendar year 2024?
I believe so.
Excellent. So I guess my question to the mayor is, in terms of doing this financing, maybe we don't need to bond. Maybe either we have expense it, or we only need to put it on a ban or something for just a year or two. Maybe we could do it that way. I'd be interested in your opinion.
Yeah, there are several options available. To your point, I haven't really picked one way or another yet because everything's in the air at the moment. But it may be that we can absorb the cost completely, depending on where things stand, using the combination of different revenue sources we have available to us. So
considering our share here, if it's only going to be $1.2 million, that's not too bad, from a cash flow perspective for us. And now, if you finish the work, do we get the 75 or 80% from the state? Do we get that right away? They pretty much cut the check, or do we have to? They pay us over 3 or 5 years, or it's not extended in that way? I'm just wondering if we could actually almost expense it over the next year or two, because that would save us interest.
I think you can, yeah. And once the work happens, you enter through this what they call ProPay system that the MSBA uses. You show the work, you show the invoices, you enter it, and it's like the reimbursement process is ongoing throughout the process. They have checks and balances on their end to make sure that eligible costs are what's reimbursed, and then it kind of happens simultaneously. The treasurer's office is very supportive. They're the ones that when we work with them, a staff member of mine works with them. And make sure all those reimbursements get submitted. Whitney comes down, gets all the signatures, we get it into ProPay, and the reimbursements come in.
Great. Okay, well, thank you for your hard work on this. Happy to support this. I think you guys have really done all the background. These are really important improvements. I think it's going to really make a big difference in these schools. So, and we're going to do it for a very affordable price for taxpayers. So, very much appreciated all the way around. Great job.
Thank you.
John, you answered Councilor Jordan's question so quick. I know Anthony made a good choice bringing you into the system.
Yeah.
Good pickup. Roy, did you have anything to add? I think it's pretty routine. Yep. And Mayor? Good. I'm going to add one comment with Councilor Tomlin.
Yeah, I just wanted to take a couple comments. Very great news in me being on the school building committee, knowing that we've been working hard to try to get this Peck School up, and that's super news about that. And I am very much supportive of the Dingle route too, because I know a lot of us on the council and the school building committee wanted to do that, if we could do that. And also, these are very important improvements in the schools. I know we've done it over the years. It makes sense to try to keep these schools in line as far as the doors and windows. And the safety of our students and teachers, it's important that we get this done. So I'm very much in favor of that too. So thanks for the hard work with that.
Everything that's been said, I agree with and just echo it. But just on the Dingle project, just a little perspective, because when Mike Sullivan was mayor, we did a proposal for the high school project, which was the addition of the science lab, some air conditioning, some other things that were part of it. And part of that was the Dingle project, which was even included, Mayor Sullivan was a big soccer fan himself, about talking to do some athletic fields, some more additional parking for the high school, a road to Peck. It was a high school project, not a Peck project, and it made a lot of sense. And we even talked about making the entrance to both schools where the hospital entrance is, where the traffic lights are. It'd be costly, but think about what the concerns of buses, parents, drop-offs, of bringing them in through the Dingle to go to both schools. Take them out of the neighborhoods, take them off of Beach Street a little bit, earlier and a little bit safer. But I think it's fantastic because, first of all, back to the this project in front of us, keeping these all the facilities up to date is important. And I commend the department for bringing it forward. And for bringing in a hired gun like Sean to answer all Kevin's questions, It's perfect.
Good job.
Amazing. He's got 10 years of experience. He's got school experience. He was a CFO for the Amherst Public Schools for some time, and most recently went to the dark side, the town side, and was the finance director.
Mayor Garcia, can we afford him as a capital?
Hey. Listen. Kelly, it started with Kelly, then I thought Sean Sheedy was going to be the last one. Like, we're going to fight.
Usually the schools are stealing from this side of the budget, but, we'll see. Any further discussion?
I see Juan has his hand.
Councilor Anderson Burgos with his hand up.
Thank you, Councilor Jordan. Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just had a brief and quick question here. I'm reading where it says, for the purpose of paying the cost of the construction at the H.B. Lawrence School for a potential window and door replacement. What's making it potential? Please and thank you.
It's not potential. That's what it's going to be for. We just took the boilerplate language that the MSBA requires us to use. And stuck, our schools on it. So that's what's happening. All the exterior windows and all the exterior doors will be replaced at Lawrence and at McMahon, and then some of the exterior windows and doors at Donahue, because Donahue has, they have some requirements. When you do a roof, for example, it has to be more than 30 years old. So like the newer wing of Donahue didn't qualify for window replacements. That's why we're only getting partial part of the building done.
Okay, thank you for the clarification.
Thank you, Councilor.
Ready for a motion?
Yes.
Motion to approve. Second.
Motion has been seconded that we approve the request. This will be a roll call vote. Councilor Tomlin.
Yes.
Councilor Jordan.
Yes.
Councilor Puello. Yes. Councilor Anderson Burgos.
Yes.
Councilor McGivern, yes, that's 5-0. This will go to the next full city council agenda, which the regular schedule one is not right now until the third Tuesday of November. So if there's some time constraints, there's a gentleman in the back that you might want to mention to, because I think there's a special, there is a special meeting in the works that if you need to get it on that agenda, the best person to talk to is the mayor and or Todd McGee.
Yeah.
Or
Okay.
both.
And I apologize for not coming sooner. It was like we were using ESSER.
Yeah.
So like I think that just, somehow we dropped the ball on not coming sooner.
Good news is never late. It's always good news.
Vendors let us know like we need this soon because
Yeah.
like windows are on back orders.
Well, especially with, if you can do it in next summer, that's
Yeah.
even better to get it going as quickly as possible.
Yeah.
Thank
you
you.
all so much as
Thank you.
usual.
Thank
for
you.
the
Good
support.
luck.
John, nice to
night.
meet you.
Thank you, Sean.
Good luck, Sean.
Yep, bye-bye.
Item number 2.
Motion to take item 2 off the table.
Motion made second to
Second.
take item 2 off the table for discussion, introduced under my name for Mayor Garcia. It's a proposed transfer in the amount of $256,000 from the capital stabilization account into capital outlay, Holyoke Police Department, other equipment, $256,000. Off the table for discussion. All those in favor? Any opposed? So moved. We have with us tonight our Chief of Police, Dave Pratt. Chief, welcome. Are you?
Evening, Chief.
I'm here. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. And are you taking the lead on this tonight?
I think the mayor might, but either way, I think the mayor wanted to
Okay.
speak on it too.
Why don't you take the lead and we'll see if we can work the mayor in.
Sure. This is the grant this is item 2. The transfer is for the citywide cameras. It's going to fix the current cameras we have, replace them, and then add 10 new ones. We currently only have 4 that are operational. They're pretty old. I believe they date back to the early 2000s. So that is what the transfer is for. It's going to give us a total of 38 cameras. It'll cover a good portion of the city, and a big push that the mayor wanted me to look into was covering the entrances and exits from the city. So this will do that.
So there's 24 existing cameras that will be replaced or repaired?
28 existing. Only out of those 28, only 4 are currently operational. And so it's going to replace all 28.
All
with
28,
new
okay, gotcha.
cameras. Those cameras will also be able to link to the shot spotter system. And then we're going to add 10 new ones on top of that.
And
So
10
it'll
new
be
ones,
38
total of 38.
Correct.
And Chief, who determines where these cameras go? Are they mobile? Are they permanent when they're placed in locations?
Well, the ones that are already in place, we're just, it's kind of like switching out the camera from an old camera to a new camera. All the wiring and everything is already there. So by doing that, it's obviously a much cheaper process. The last 10 are new to cover, like I said, primarily the entrances and exits to the city. Those have to have wires run. Those were a little more costly. So we did here at the department, and we actually have a map of them. I don't have it right with me, but I could probably forward that over so you could see. I believe the map actually breaks it down between the existing and the new added one. I could probably have that formatted and sent over to the council if you want.
Okay. The mayor just indicated, I think he's going to grab that, or he went to the office. And, all right, I was going to ask the mayor a question on the stabilization from it. No big deal. Looks like we still have a balance, and we'll have a balance in stabilization of still over $1 million as we go.
I have a couple technical questions if you...
Sure. Councilor Jordan.
Chief, question. One is, how is the cameras going to be synchronized with the shot spotter system? Like, how does that kind of work? And is it possible for the council to get some sort of demonstration, or is this something where we have to have the shot spotter people back maybe to, because I think this is what we would call phase 2 of the of our ShotSpotter technology initiative, which I think is fantastic, and I appreciate you bringing this forward, but I'm kind of curious as to how it works.
Right, so the basic gist is that when the ShotSpotter activates, the cameras in that area will then zoom towards the pinpointed location so that, you'll have a much, the cameras are like 360 cameras anyway, so you see pretty much everything, but these will have the cameras zoom in to that pinpointed area of ShotSpotter so that you can see who's in the area, who's, right there. Ideally, if it happens, you're going to see the people on camera, hopefully that were involved.
Oh, good. That's what we want. Now, my next question is, how is it going to work on the video side? So, unfortunately, we've got 28 cameras and only 4 of them currently work. So, I'm assuming is anybody watching the 4 that do work? And how is that going to work in terms of, is there going to be a panel at the police station where you're going to have staffing to monitor these cameras, or how does that all work? I'm assuming you also have some sort of DVR system that's running around the clock as well. Can you walk us through that logistical side?
Well, there'll be monitors in dispatch, and obviously there's people in dispatch 24/7. There'll also be monitors in the station, the detective bureau, a couple other locations, and you're exactly right. The cameras record, so if something happens, we can go back, watch the film over and over, and pull whatever video we need from that. Mm-hmm. So I guess the short answer is yes, they will be monitored by dispatch. Will someone just be watching the cameras all the time? Probably not. But as incidents come in or happen, same thing. The cameras will be able to be, a call comes in and it's in whatever location. Boom, we'll be able to look right to the cameras to see, probably before even anyone is able to get there, what is going on in that area.
And Chief, I'm assuming when we say cameras, this is of a certain high grade to really be able to zoom in, get pictures of people's faces, be able to track in on license plates, that kind of zoom in, hopefully high quality resolution, because you're talking, criminal evidence here potentially. So we made sure we're getting that type of high grade, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
The exact specs, I don't know, but I'm not a camera guy per se, but I got people here that are pretty good at that stuff, and
okay.
I'm pretty confident that exactly what you're asking for is what we're getting.
Oh, good. So in the goal, I would assume by us putting these at key exit points in the city, and you said there's going to be 10, so I'm assuming we've identified 5 or 10 different spots, the Willimantic Bridge or 91 on-ramps or have you, where there's going to be the new 10 going,
Exactly.
these key, over the Muller Bridge type of situation. Okay. Yeah, great.
That's correct.
And
we use the existing cameras that we already have, and then place the new ones in conjunction. Some of the cameras may have already covered an exit, and so we wouldn't waste another one there. We already have one,
right?
And then we're just trying to cover all the exit and entry points.
Okay. I'm just going to bring it up because I read an interesting article the other day, and it was about basically privacy and personal security. And there's kind of a debate. There's always this yin and yang between privacy and, strong law enforcement. But the article was about plate readers. Would this have the capacity, if we wanted to do plate reading at certain exit points of the city? Are we thinking about doing that to see if, certain people went in and out of over the Muller Bridge from this hour to this hour type of situation?
These cameras will not do that, no.
Okay, all right. So this is something where it's running, and the goal is to, we want to know who went over the Muller Bridge, say. I'm just using that as an example, during this 2-hour time span. And you would have a capacity to watch the tape to go and see every car that went over this particular bridge, basically, right? Or this
Sure.
particular
and you have to remember too, these will be our city cameras, but we also have, and just throw a pitch out there that anyone's watching, we also partner with local businesses and private residents for access to their cameras as well. So what typically happens in these cases is something happens in a certain area. If we're able to even just catch the, say, flight path away from the crime, then we could start accessing all the cameras we have along the route, which hopefully would bring us to, if they are fleeing the city, not everyone flees the city after a crime. And, we usually use all the cameras at our disposal to try to track that person. And a lot of times before, if we know, even seeing the person right before the incident, which way they came from, because then we can backtrack the cameras as well that way. So it's really just a collaborative between what we currently have that would be ours with all the businesses. There's a way for the business or private residents right on our website to, if they want to join that program, and we can walk them through that. But it just enhances the camera work that we can do.
The other thing I wanted to ask you, Chief, is hopefully there was a rhyme and a reason to how we picked the original 28 in the first place. And one of the things that I hear from citizens are, look, we know where the bad guys are out here selling heroin all the time or other crazy drugs and all these other bad transactions. Why don't they just put a camera right there up on the telephone pole and record these SOBs that are doing it, so that they say, you know what, I don't want to be recorded. I'm going to go to Springfield and peddle drugs. I'm not going to be in Holyoke peddling drugs or doing Lord knows what else they're doing, right? So my question is this going to give us that back? Because I think citizens really want that. They want to make life as absolutely uncomfortable as possible on criminals, okay? And so what I would like to see as part of this is to make sure your known hotspots, your red zones, whatever we want to call them, we just crank it up the level of scrutiny on the bad guys to a point where they're like, it isn't worth doing business in Holyoke. I'm going to go to Chicopee, Springfield, Vermont, New York City, wherever the hell they came from, okay, and get them the hell out of here. That's what I want to see. So if we need an extra 10 cameras on top of this to do that too, bring it on. I want to make sure that, are you able to comfortably, since we're making the ask tonight, are we able to put eyes on all your key hotspots by this 38 cameras? That's my question.
I believe so. But to also answer your question, there are resources. The tough part is, today's hotspot, you really need to generalize that a little to make sure the camera is covering your main areas. And, one little hotspot that might pop up that maybe isn't covered by the camera, we do have resources that we can utilize to cover areas like that if we need to for like even a short time period. So that doesn't concern me. If there was, I think if you're going that way, if that's what you're wondering, like there's a hot spot pops up over here, we didn't quite cover it with the 38. We do have some assets that are mobile that we can utilize to kind of quell those hot spots when need be. And I felt pretty comfortable with this layout. I mean, obviously, too, I mean, you know, I guess you could put a camera on every corner if you want to, but it's pretty costly to put new ones in because they have to run all the wires for it and everything. So that's what really the big cost is. The camera itself isn't, you know, the main draw. So we expand, that'd be no problem. If we felt like we needed to, we could certainly add a camera or two here or there. If for some reason we got to a point where we didn't think we were covering enough. But I felt pretty confident with that layout. If you have the map there, I guess now the mayor brought it over. So if you want to look for yourself, I mean,
Can you give us a mini? Can you give us a mini version of that? Is that something that could be PDF?
I can have my. I mean, I think we gave that one to the mayor, so I can shrink that down and I'll send it as like an attachment. You can pull it up and look at it.
Okay. But Chief, what I was getting at is I'm assuming that some smart person at some point date in the past looked at the location of the 28 and based that on either an accumulation of police reports that said, this is why we're picking this block versus this block, or this is a strategic location versus another one. I just wanted to make sure that you're correct, we are not going to put one on every single corner in the city, but then again, there isn't crime on every single corner in the city. The issue is, I just want to make sure that if there's a review of police reporting and good statistical analysis of where trouble is, that we're putting a camera on these people 24/7 until they're looking up at the pole and they're going to be a little less brazen to be sitting out here on the corner selling drugs or flashing guns or doing whatever the hell is these criminals do. And I want them to know, we got eyes on you, we're watching you, and we're going to bring you to justice. So I'm all in favor of this and whatever else it takes until we drive the last one of them the hell out of here. Thank you.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, Chair will entertain a motion.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion made and seconded that we approve the transfer request. If there's no further discussion, roll call vote. Counselor Tallman?
Yes.
Counselor Jordan?
Yes.
Counselor Powell?
Yes.
Counselor Anderson Burgos?
Yes.
Counselor McGivern, yes. Passes 5-0. Chief, I'll say it a couple times. We've got a couple more orders coming up here, but this, as always, goes to the next full city council meeting. Right now, the next scheduled full city council meeting is the third Tuesday of November because of November 7th being an election day. So if there's any time constraints, you need to see our president and or the mayor or both. Okay?
Yep, no problem.
Item number 3.
Should take item number 3 off the table?
Second.
Discussion.
Motion made and seconded to take item 3 off the table for discussion. Introduced under my name that in accordance with Mass General Laws, Chapter 44, Section 53A, the City Council hereby accepts the provisions of the fiscal 2023 BGA Edward Byrne Memorial Justice Assistance Grant Program, $40,949 with no match. Authorize the establishment of a fund and or other method appropriate for the accounting of the receipts and expenditures of all resources associated with the administration of said grant. Off the table for discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So moved. Chief, again, welcome. No stranger of this grant to the city of Holyoke, but if you could just walk us through it for anybody who's listening.
Yep, it's a total of $40,949. It's a no-match grant. It's basically just like you said, it's for equipment. We are getting vests with it, 18 vests. It's going to cover some camera licenses. Some for the vest, there is some, a lot of the, I'm sure you've seen the vest, they have like gear that the officers need to clip onto, so there's some gear that we're gonna get for the officers to put on their vest. We need, there's a couple computers for our IT department that are gonna come out of here, and a label printer for our barcode system. And that would pretty much break it down.
And the printers for which department, which part?
The print, it's a label printer. It's for
Label.
our barcode. Like everything we get, it's now on a barcode system. I think if you remember from the audit, thought we should be doing that. So we had it pretty much implemented, and we put that in place. So we need this label printer to help us put the barcode on the different things that we get.
Gotcha. And this annual, semi-annual grant comes through the state, correct? Through the Department of Justice?
It's annual, correct? And
Annual,
yes, through the
okay.
Department of Justice.
Any discussion? Councilor Jordan?
Nope, just motion to approve.
Motion made, second that we approve the acceptance of grant and everything that we read that goes with it. Roll call, Councilor Tallman?
Yes.
Councilor Jordan?
Yes.
Councilor Powell? Councilor Anderson Burgos?
Yes.
Councilor McGivern, yes. It approved with a recommendation to the full city council 5-0. Item number 4.
Number 4 off the table for discussion.
Second.
Motion made, second we take item 4 off the table for discussion, introduced under my name. In accordance with Mass General Laws 44, Section 53A, the City Council hereby accepts the provisions of the fiscal 23 BJA Comprehensive Opioid Stimulant and Other Substance Abuse Programs. It's $1 million, no match, grant to authorize the grant and authorize the establishment of fund or other method appropriate for the accounting of the receipts and expenditures of all resources associated with the administration of said grant. Off the table, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So moved. Chief Pratt?
Okay, so, this grant is a 3-year grant, and the total for the police department part of this is about 200, and I think it's 217,000. It's basically to cover salaries for the officers assigned for the opioid addiction out of our Ray Street office. The rest of the money goes towards our partners in that. CHD, it's going to pay for, I believe, 3 of their employees, director, clinician, and a recovery coach. It's also going to cover the cost of a recovery coach for Gandara at the hospital and with the Hoyok Hospital, so that they can do the outreach there for people that have overdosed that we don't encounter on the street. It also covers the tracking of all the statistics through UMass. I believe that's the breakdown of partners. So for us, it's the salary of our officers, CHD salary for their employees that assist us, the clinicians that go out, and recovery coaches, Gandara and Hoyok Hospital, same thing, and UMass for the tracking.
Okay. And Chief, I appreciate and really appreciate the DOJ sending these type of grants through the city, and certainly well-deserved and well-needed areas that they're used. But I kind of know the answer, but I always ask the question because our auditor is very quietly, Tanya Dorjik, sitting here, and the monies that are going to CHD, Gandara, and even UMass are monies that are funneled through the city. This is the way the state sets it up. And as far as the expenditures of those monies by CHD, Gandara, and UMass, does the city have any obligation to oversee how those dollars are spent?
Yeah. Yes.
Yes. And how do we do that?
It's monthly. They send us the bills and we go over them.
Okay. And to our auditor, it's the checks and balances are in place?
Yes, that's accurate.
Okay. I appreciate that. So we've talked about that in the past, but sometimes people have that question. I think it's important to understand that. Recovery courses by Gandara, it's one of the good things that Gandara does, and I think that would be very useful at the Hoyok Hospital. When you say CHD employees, are those the employees that are directly working with the city, with the Ray Street project?
Yes.
Any discussion? Councilor Jordan.
Chief, I happened to read in social media today that our state senator invited a group of teenagers to go to the Capitol to testify about why we should bring heroin shoot-up centers to the city of Holyoke. And I'm really interested about, as I've been saying to many people, this is phase 2 of what needle exchange, which by the way is not really a needle exchange, since needle exchange was supposed to be 1-for-1 exchange. Right now we have 1 for as many as you want, which is why I suggest to you there's needles everywhere, all over the place. Self-defeating as part of the program, and we're the regional one, right? Because the other communities didn't want it, so put it in Holyoke per usual. And so this is obviously attracting more people to come from out of town. That's sort of the design of the program, and doesn't answer the question as to where do the people get the heroin to shoot into the needles. But now I was intrigued to read, and I wanted to know if they ever checked in with you. They're talking about now having locations where you could actually go and legally shoot up the heroin. And this is phase 2 of this program. And so since we're on the topic of substance abuse and illicit drug use and rehabilitation for patients, I was interested to see, have they ever reached out to you as the chief of police as to whether or not Holyoke Police would support bringing in these centers into the city of Holyoke?
No.
Yeah, well, I know you're a busy guy, but you might want to talk to Senator Vilas about where he's going with all this. I certainly am going to, because, we already have the needle exchange program, and now if they're going to put, shoot-up centers in the city of Holyoke too, I mean, at what point are we doing our share? Why isn't this going to Springfield? Or, there's a reason Springfield doesn't have it, because they don't want it. And, it's once again, put it in Holyoke. So I'm really concerned that people go up there to the legislature, they're not talking to the mayor, or maybe they are, I don't know, and but they're not talking to law enforcement or our other leadership here in the city, and they go up there and tell the legislature, do this for Holyoke, put this in Holyoke, and no one is talking to the leadership in the community. I find that really interesting. So just another thing that who knows what'll get situated here in the city of Holyoke. So we have to keep a close eye. Holyoke is a very compassionate city. We're way beyond doing our fair share in terms of addressing things as we should. But at the same time, we need the whole region to be making efforts. And the question is, where's Chicopee? Where's Springfield? Where's these other communities doing their share to address the issue, and making sure that Holyoke isn't getting overburdened with heroin addicts from out of town and that are coming here as a result of some of these programs. Because again, they roam the streets, and where do they get the money to put into the needles? That's what I'd like to know. So, I think it's hard to argue, especially with us having an exceptionally high property crime rate in this city, that there isn't a correlation. So I wanted to just point that out to you, and something to keep an eye on. I was very disappointed to see, without consultation, these type of things are being pushed on Holyoke again. Thank you.
Any further discussion?
I'll make a motion to accept the grant.
Motion made and second to accept the grants. Just a quick comment, Chief. But because of the need, because of the individuals that this grant puts in place, I think in some key areas where we certainly need people who are trained and experts in the area of substance abuse, not just about overdoses, but about dealing with people and trying to get them the help that they need to overcome their substance abuse issues. I will vote in favor of it. I know between you, your people who work for you, and the auditor, that the money that is funneled through here will be carefully monitored to make sure that it's used appropriately. And I don't have any questions about that. I just always caution, And I commend the police department for their efforts in working with individuals who have substance abuse issues and getting them the help they need. But there's a thin line when an arrest is supposed to be made and when an arrest isn't supposed to be made. And I think sometimes we just have to keep an eye on that to make sure the discretion of our police department is being at least talked about on a regular basis. It's going to backfire. Well, I hope it's not going to backfire someday, but it's got potential to backfire on us if the correct decision is not made out in the field. Not looking for an answer. I know we've talked about this, and I fully, with my job and my position in the courts, I understand the need and want to see as much money as possible come into Holyoke to help those that are in need. But I agree with Councilor Jordan that the next step should not be the next step for Holyoke as far as any type of powers or safe zones for use. It makes it too easy, and it markets the city to become the city to come to instead of the city to get help and to get the dealers off the streets and get the people who are using the help they need to stop using, and we don't need dealers anymore.
Exactly. Yep. I make a motion to approve the grant, Mr.
Motion made and seconded that we approve the acceptance of the grant as read and with the appropriate establishment of funds and methods. Roll call, Councilor Tallman?
Yes.
Councilor Jordan?
Yes.
Councilor Powell? Councilor Anderson Burgos?
Yes.
Councilor McGivern, yes. It's 5-0. We'll go to the full city council. One more, Chief.
We should take item number 5 off the table for
Motion
discussion.
made second, we take item 5 off the table for discussion. Introduced under my name for the mayor that a transfer of $300,000 from line item known as patrolman be transferred into the line item known as overtime. Off the table, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So moved. Chief Pratt?
Okay, so, staying with what we've been doing, I need to, based on, I had, as you know, when we sent that last group to the academy, 4 didn't make it, and I had 2 officers leave the department for different employment. So those 6 openings is what creates the void in that line item and allows me to move the money to backfill the overtime that's used to backfill those positions. I went for a little higher amount just to try to get us through. I think with this amount, this is going to get us into the new year. I know we have elections coming, new counselors, all of that, and I thought it might make sense to get this money in there, get us through the holidays, get us into the new year without having to come back. We're seeing the trend, like I mentioned. The last payroll was a little higher, but that did include the homicide, so that always pumps it up. And I think without that, we would have been under 40 for the pay period. So I see the trend. Our officers that did graduate the academy are coming out of training now and hitting the street this week. So they're going to start counting towards our numbers. We just hired 4 more that did start the academy. So they started about a week and a half ago, planned them out in the spring, and we also hired a 5th officer who already had the academy. So that person is going to be starting on the street as well after a little training. That person is experienced officer, so we don't anticipate the training to be as long. So we will, I think we're trending in the right direction. This should get us there to the beginning of the year anyway, and we'll try this again with a new council, hopefully in the new year.
Chief, what was the average for the payroll period, the last 1 or 2 payroll periods?
Oh, the last 1 or 2. I know the overall was up there in the 55, but this last payroll would have dropped to probably under 40 if it wasn't for the homicide. So, I think the overall average was about 55,000 for the whole year. The last couple pay periods, I don't have that right in front of me. I could get it for you though.
If you could, I know we were getting down towards the 38,000 during last year, but
That's my goal, to get back down there.
Yeah.
in those
And I
numbers.
understand
I think
during
we're
this-
getting there with the new personnel.
and I understand during summer months it goes up a little with vacation time and so forth. But it's been a while since we had one of this magnitude, but can you give us some numbers on the homicide investigation, recent one investigation, and the amount of overtime that brought into that investigation? Rough idea.
It's about $10,000.
And Chief, it should be said and should always be said, but thank you and all the men and women for a quick response to this and all the efforts, even after the incident, for what's been taking place. It's still tragic, and I think we're all still absorbing what happened that day. But your efforts have been tremendous, and I've seen, my job in the court system. I've seen not only the efforts that you made, but successful efforts and the arrests that have been made to date. But thank you. Councilor Tallman?
Yeah, thanks, Chief.
I would say, Joe, to even back up one when you were worried about, I know we give out services like no other city, and we're proud of that. But like I've said before, we have the services for the criminal element as well, and we started that, as you saw, probably in the court the other day. You're going to see more of that. So the balance is there. Our people know how to do it. Our partners are more than willing to step up and help us. So I think you're going to see a lot more of that. So you're going to get both.
Thank you. Councilor Tallman?
Thanks, Chief, and welcome. Right now, do you have a certain amount in your overtime account? As of now, do you have a amount in there?
Before this transfer, we're
Before
down
this,
at about
yeah.
75,000.
75,000 right now?
Right.
Okay, so that would not even take it, 2 pay periods it'll be gone?
Right.
I think.
Correct.
You stated that 4 officers didn't make it to the academy. They just dropped out, didn't pass the physical or the training? Yeah.
They struggled academically. They couldn't pass some of the tests. There's many factors of the academy. It's kind of like a merit. They get like the merits after different things. If they fail a test, if they fall out of a run, there's different things that adds up to a certain number, and then at some point the academy basically they don't have enough to graduate, and that's what will get them dismissed. This group was primarily academic.
Yeah, and how many entered? Would you say 8 entered?
We had 10 go into
10.
that class. We lost 4.
So you only got 6 out of the 10.
Correct.
And will they be getting on soon? Starting, or they got to do?
They're already here. They're already working. They graduated back in the beginning of September.
Okay.
They were in our in-house training, and that's come to an end now. So now they're literally next week they're hitting the street like on their own. So we're going to start to see that help us as well.
Right, and you stated that you got 4 more in the academy now coming for
Right.
spring?
4 more that just started a week and a half ago, and 1 that's starting with us as well that already has the academy. So we hired 5.
Okay. So what?
Those 5, our number is at, I believe, 91 with those 5.
With those 5, okay. So
And then, like I said, 2 left us, and then the 4 that didn't make it, that would have put us at the 97.
right, and what is the number before all this? During the summer or the spring, what was the number of officers you had? Was it about 90, 88, 90?
Well, yeah, minus those 6, we were probably, and then, there was probably, what was that, about 84 or 84 prior to us hiring those 6. We actually hired 11 when we did that. One of the officers that we hired in that group also had the academy. So we hired 11, sent 10 to the academy, and 1 came right to work.
Okay, so one of the officers you hired already had the training, so basically just to sort of hands-on stuff. I mean, he already went to the academy, so.
I feel like we're getting very close, like with this academy being here in Holyoke, we sort of have I feel as though it helps us get people prepared and ready. We are also trying to collaborate with Springfield. The police department runs their own academy, and they have an academy starting up here. We're going to see if we can, the way they do that down there is they have a certain amount of slots for their officers, and then if they don't meet that number, then they offer it up to surrounding towns. So we might be able to squeeze a couple more in there. We're trying to do that as we speak. That would start in November. So that would be a big help if we could even get a couple more in there.
Okay, because I mean, as time goes on, I mean, it's almost you always have to get people into the academy because you get people retiring or people may leave or people in the academy may drop out. So it's almost like you have to constantly get people in, right?
Yeah, and I feel like with these academies being a little more, with the new academy, the size of it, they're being pretty consistent, running them every 6 months. So after this, there's another academy in March. So we're already looking at that academy to backfill what we don't get done between this academy and the Springfield Academy. Then we'll put in those last few. I don't believe this is the year I think where we're going to catch up because our retirements are minimal coming into the beginning of this year. I think we only have 1 or 2. So the hope is that we can get those, whoever does leave in early January, we can get all them into March and we'll be at full capacity out of that March Academy.
Okay, and you feel this transfer will get you through January and hopefully with the new people on, the number will get down back to under 40,000?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, I appreciate it.
I mean, again, I can never obviously predict
Right.
homicides or any of that kind of stuff, but regular, everyday business, yes.
Okay, thank you, Chief. Well said.
Counselor Powell?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you, Chief. So this doesn't concern me too much is overtime when we're putting other officers out on the street and we're having other people do their job. I think that's a great thing. What I do get a little concerned about is overtime that's supposed to be administered by vendors and private parties. So I did file an order requesting, requesting the events and the dollar amounts that were spent on that. And I know the chief knows what I'm talking about because I emailed him on it and I've talked to a couple other people. But Chief, can you walk us through when a private vendor hires overtime? Can you walk us through the process? Can you walk us through the app that's available? Can you walk us through how that whole thing is supposed to happen?
So as you know, in our budget, we have a line item for special events. Those are those normally cover city events, and there's many that happen throughout the year. Obviously, the biggest being the parade, the Spanish Festival, 4th of July, those type of events is what is primarily covered from. As a matter of fact, the parade has its own line item. And then a private vendor, if they wanted to hire a police officer for an event, they can go through the outside vendor. It's an app. They could call us, we could set it up, or they can call the vendor directly and set it up. Roll call now. Did it switch yet? I think it's roll call. And that is like a private, similar to, the construction companies that hire officers on the street. They just hire them for events. I'm trying to think, sometimes proms or other type of, some of them are security type details. We have details at different locations where, say, a property owner may want to hire a police officer. They can do that through the app. The mall hires officers to work at the mall. Those type of things. So they're kind of two different things. One is overtime, for like city-sponsored events, and then one is privately done for private companies.
Okay, follow up, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, yes.
Thanks for that, Chief. Who determines if it's a special event or not? Who determines if it, like I can use, okay, so Dazed Cannabis is down in Ward 2. I've been down there many times. And they bring celebrities and they have the food truck and they have a ton of people out there. And when they do that, I've seen officers, I've talked to them. So, that's kind of a community party, but it's not. So who determines if it's a special event? Because I know they specifically pay for the officers they've had in the past.
So, I know in the past it usually was primarily like just the mayor, but I know that this mayor has set up like a committee, public safety committee type thing where people that have, people say all the time, we want to do A, B, or C. We want to do, a party here or there. And they come in and give us the parameters of what they're doing. And then ultimately it is, the mayor and myself will talk and he decides, I would say. If it's an event that's the city is partaking in or sponsoring, then he'll tell me to cover it. If it's something that's being done privately, then he'll usually direct that company to go through our app and hire officers that way. Sometimes it could potentially even be both, depending on if there's an event, but the city's also partaking. We may, I've seen it both ways combined. It's just a matter of what is actually happening.
Can I follow up, Mr. Chairman?
I can give you a great example
At the far-
that's coming up, the ball. That's a special event. That's being covered by the special event line item.
Yeah, thanks for that answer. And I really like something that you said in that is that it's backed by a committee. So I'm not sure, maybe that's something I guess I'd have to go back and do some research on and explore if it's something that the council could do through ordinance or something along those lines. But, I'm just, I don't know how I feel about one individual person, whether it be the mayor or, because there's obviously a chain of command in the police department, right? And the mayor, he could definitely call and say, oh, well, hey, we've got a party down over here. Can we have overtime for XYZ? And I'm not sure if I'm okay with that. I think that a community...
I can also say, too, that when our numbers are better, if we had the bodies on shift and the mayor called and wanted something covered, we cover it with shift personnel. So it doesn't always, not recently, probably more overtime than not, hence the creation of the special events line item. But if there were more bodies on and working, and we're able to just pull them from the shift, we do that. I can tell you a good example of that is when we do like the snow removal, snow tows. If we have enough officers working, we don't always hire. We might only hire, if we were going to normally hire 2 officers and a supervisor, we might only hire 1 officer, and we don't need to because there is an extra supervisor working, so we won't hire. So that's when I talk about like the combination of both. It can be like that as well.
Yeah, no, I understand where you're coming from, and I wish we had more officers, definitely. But my concern is more that one individual can designate a private party something that's now all of a sudden backed by the city. Is there a committee? Is there some kind of group? Like you mentioned, the St. Patrick's Day Parade. Got it. The Fiestas Patronales. Yeah, there's a committee definitely for that. So, I think the public has input and whatnot. But when we're talking about an individual person designating something without a committee, we're kind of spending tax dollars on this, So the specific example, just so the public understands, and I hope we can talk about it more in my order, but it's the party that happened down at Fiesta Cafe, the block party that was down there. I got complaints from the Race Smart. I talked to some officers, and what I ended up hearing about that was that they actually, I think the agreement was they were supposed to go to 10 in the evening. And then what I heard was that they just said, no, we're going to keep going. They got a loud noise complaint. And then I think we were billed for the overtime past that too. And to be clear, that wasn't part of the Fiestas Patronales, and there was no committee that was involved in setting up that block party. So I've got, like I said, I've got Days Cannabis in my ward. Why can't we I want to designate them for free overtime whenever, you know what I mean? So why can't I do that? So I do have an issue with that, and I think I'm gonna vote for this. But do you know how much money was spent on that for overtime? I heard there was like 6 officers. I think there was a lieutenant.
To be honest with you, I don't know.
You don't know?
I'd
Yeah.
have to look it up.
So that's really my concern. Yeah.
I didn't know.
I'd appreciate it, definitely for the conversation on the next order, because I mean, private businesses getting hooked up with overtime, especially when, if we were talking about like, I don't know.
You got to also understand too. Sometimes that's sometimes it can be my decision only. Is that there could be an event that could be sanctioned, could be, they were going to get private vendor, but we can't always fill those either. So if we can't fill them, I have to take into account public safety, road closures, that kind of thing. I might have no choice but to cover it.
What does that mean?
We
The public
can't cover it with an outside vendor. I'm
So
not saying that's what happened here. I'm just giving you another reason why it would go that way.
Right, because I agree with you. I
Or
definitely think
could
there
be
should
an
be
event.
cops
I
there.
believe a couple years ago when the cannabis thing did do their thing, they hired a couple
Right.
cops. But we needed more for like traffic outside that area. So we ended up covering that with overtime. So, it's you just have to look at the event, and I think that's why the committee thing was brought together. It's not just police, but fire, DPW, Board of Health, they all come and have like a say and make sure that all the proper permits are being signed, all that kind of thing. So,
Right, but
there's a
but
lot
my
that
point
kinda-
is, that it's a private business, though. You know what I mean? There's no committee. I mean, if somebody goes through the process of getting a road closure done, and I agree with you, there should be police officers there, absolutely, public safety, but the question is, who's paying for that? Are the taxpayers being asked to pay for something that somebody owns a business that's really good friends with half the leadership, half the city council, and he's got signs out, and so the mayor picks up the phone and says, hey, can I have 6 cops? No problem. That's not okay. So I'm wondering if maybe that's something that needs to be done by ordinance then, to prevent that in the future, because I really agree with what you said. I think if we're going to do that, I think it needs to be backed by some kind of committee, like the St. Patrick's Day, like the Fiestas, but we can't just have it to where somebody picks up the phone and says, hey, my buddy's having a party. Can you designate this? Can you designate 6 cops for this? Like, that's just like, what? So I do, I'll look forward to that conversation, but a heads up, I really think this person needs to be billed just like everybody else, just like every other business does in the city. Thank you.
Councilor Jordan.
Yeah, Chief, if we approve the 300,000, how much will that put us at for the year? And how does are we on track for what we did this same time last fiscal year? Are we running about the same? Are we still ahead? Are we running behind? What's the year-over-year analysis?
It's definitely putting us ahead overall, because that'll be about, if I'm right, it's 800,000 for the year, and we get us into January or February. But with that being said, last year I came back I think I came back for less earlier, and then we got kind of jammed up around the holidays, and that's why I was trying to do it this way this time. So I think overall we're on track, and if those numbers trend the way they're trending, we're gonna still be probably right where we were last year by the end of the year.
Okay.
If
Thank
that
you.
makes sense.
Yes, it does. Thank you.
Councilor Tallman.
Yeah, thanks again, Chief. I just had one more a question. On the money's coming for the patrolman account, so how much is in that account approximately right now? And will you be able to make it through the year with that money gone? Can't hear you. Lost your volume.
Sorry, I hit my button. Sorry about
Okay.
that. Yeah, we'll have plenty of money in there. With the shortages we had earlier, and the people we just hired, those salaries weren't being paid out from July till just last week. So those 5 salaries on top of the others, we're gonna, exactly what we have in there now.
Approximately,
I want to say there's still over $1 million. Oh no, wait, I'm in the wrong. About 4.5 million still in there. I think the projection still leaves us with about, I believe, about 125,000 surplus.
in that line item, you mean,
That's for the end of it. That's calculating out,
to the end of the
I
year?
believe, at 89 patrolmen. So that number fluctuates. The sheet I'm using is kind of like a moving sheet.
Right.
It's not the hard numbers, but I'm trying to speculate here with adding and subtracting real quick. I would say that we're going to still have a surplus in that account, which I'd probably come back for before the end of the year.
Okay, I just want to make sure, because it seems like the
And
last,
part of that will depend on how many we hire, how many go to that next academy, how many go. If we don't if we don't get people into the Springfield Academy, then that's 2 more salaries that won't start until they go to the academy in March. You know what I'm saying? So if I do get them in November, well, that's 2 more salaries. So that number might come down a little as far as surplus, but on the front end, you're going to get them out sooner. So it's calculated. The money I'm taking from there was with a very conservative amount to make sure that there's still plenty in the line item to cover all salaries.
okay, because I'm sure the last time we did I don't know, was it 2 months ago, last month, 2 months ago, we did a transfer. It was from the same account, right? Patrolman, you didn't take it from anywhere else.
I don't know if we took it all from there. I don't know if I have the old one here. Try to keep all my city council stuff right here.
Yeah.
Where we took that last transfer from.
Wasn't too long ago.
Probably would have to pull the transfer order to see it. I thought we split that up because at that time I don't know if I had that much surplus in there. So that might have come from a different line item.
Okay, if you just get that, you don't need to get it right now.
Sorry, I don't have it.
If you can find
The
that.
agenda, but I don't have the breakdown.
If you can get that first, I just want to make sure that,
Yeah, I could find that out very easily. I could pull the order tomorrow. I just don't have it at my fingertips from the last.
Right. I know, it wasn't too long ago. I think about 2 months ago, maybe 3 months ago.
Yeah, it was early. It was like in September.
And you said this 300,000 will get you to hopefully through the holidays, January, maybe February.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I got your word on that? Maybe?
I never can guarantee anything.
Well, I'm just saying. I'm just saying one military man to
I
another.
would
Yeah.
say that if things remain fairly normal, yes, you have my word on that. But
Okay.
as we saw just a week or so ago,
It can change.
things can
Yeah.
happen rapidly, and so I would never want to. I think if I come back to you before that, I'm going to have a very good explanation why.
Okay, I appreciate that. Thank you.
We'll all know why I'm back. It won't be a secret.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Any further
Got it.
discussion?
Motion to approve the 300.
Motion made second that we approve the request of transfer of $300,000. Roll call, Counselor Tallman?
Yes.
Counselor Jordan?
Yes.
Counselor Puelo? Yes. Counselor Anderson Burgos?
Yes.
Counselor McGivern, yes, passes 5-0. Chief, the Finance Committee has done their job, goes to our next full City Council meeting. Again, that's not scheduled until November 21st. So time constraints could be on this one. You might want to talk to the mayor and President McGee about any special meetings that are coming up. Okay?
Had those conversations already. Yep.
All right. I knew you
Thank
did,
you.
but just wanted to make sure.
Thanks, Chief.
Thank you.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion made
very
second,
much.
we adjourn.
Have a good night.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So moved. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night.